Excuse me, miss. I need you to step away from the patient.
I'm in the middle of something here.
Ma'am, I don't care what you're doing. We have a warrant for your arrest.
There must be some mistake. I'm working right now.
Okay, sure. You can explain it downtown. Come with me now.
I can't leave. Not right now.
You're making this really difficult for yourself. Hands.
February 18, 2024, Chicago Memorial Hospital, Operating Room 5. Dr. Amara Washington, Chief of Cardiothoracic Surgery, youngest in the hospital's 127-year history, had her hands inside a 9-year-old boy's chest. Lucas Martinez's exposed heart rested between her gloved fingers. One miscalculation meant death. She was 67% through the most delicate repair of her career. At 2:47 p.m., a rookie cop walked through the door. Officer Brandon Hayes, 26 years old, 9 months in uniform, 63 arrests to his name. He demanded she stop surgery. Immediately, come with him, hands behind her back. Dr. Washington refused. Officer Hayes grabbed her arm, sterile gloves still bloody, and handcuffed her. For 7 minutes, Lucas Martinez's heart struggled without her. Monitor alarms screaming. Surgical team frozen in disbelief. Hayes had arrested the wrong person. Wrong name, wrong department, wrong building. His body cam recorded everything. The fallout: 10 years in federal prison for Hayes, $24 million paid to Dr. Washington, Chicago's largest individual civil rights settlement in history. His certification revoked nationwide. Her testimony before Congress. And one state law that changed hospital policing forever. This is what happened when a rookie cop's ego collided with a surgeon's scalpel, and a child's life hung in the balance. The heart monitor was beeping. The officer's career was about to flatline. But before Officer Hayes made the worst decision of his life, you need to understand exactly who Dr. Amara Washington was, because he clearly didn't. Dr. Amara Washington wasn't just a surgeon, she was an institution. Yale School of Medicine, class of 2006, summa cum laude, top 3% of her graduating class, cardiothoracic surgery residency at Johns Hopkins, the most competitive program in the nation, 5 years of fellowship training in pediatric cardiac surgery at Boston Children's Hospital. By age 34, she performed her first solo open-heart surgery on a newborn. By 38, she'd published 34 peer-reviewed research papers on congenital heart defects. By 40, she was appointed Chief of Cardiothoracic Surgery at Chicago Memorial, the youngest department head in the hospital's history. Her statistics were staggering. 847 successful open-heart surgeries over 18 years, a 98.6% survival rate, 3 full percentage points above the national average of 95.2%. 0 malpractice claims, 0 disciplinary actions, 4 commendations from the Illinois Medical Board. She earned $420,000 annually, managed a department budget of $18 million, supervised 17 surgeons, 43 nurses, and 12 residents, trained the next generation of cardiac specialists. The American College of Surgeons awarded her their Distinguished Service Award in 2022. The National Medical Association named her Physician of the Year in 2023. She testified before the Senate Health Committee twice on healthcare access reform. Dr. Washington was also the first black woman to lead a cardiothoracic surgery department in Illinois history. She was a single mother of 2 daughters, ages 11 and 14, raised on Chicago's South Side by a postal worker father and elementary school teacher mother. She'd put herself through undergraduate studies at Northwestern on academic scholarships. She volunteered at free clinics on weekends. She mentored young women of color pursuing medical careers. Her colleagues described her as unflappable. Her residents called her Dr. Ice, not because she was cold, but because nothing rattled her composure. In the operating room, faced with split-second life-or-death decisions, she operated with calm, methodical precision. Hospital CEO Dr. Patricia Holloway would later testify, "Dr. Washington is the most competent, professional physician I've worked with in 32 years of hospital administration. She is the person you want operating on your child. She is the person you want leading your department. She is irreplaceable. On March 15, 2024, all of Dr. Washington's expertise, all of her training, all of her authority, all of her composure would be tested, not by a failing heart, but by a failing police officer who couldn't read a warrant correctly. It was supposed to be a routine Friday afternoon. Emergency surgery, high risk, but manageable. Dr. Washington had performed this procedure 43 times before. What she hadn't prepared for was what would walk through the operating room door at 2:47 p.m. March 15, 2024, 1:30 p.m. Dr. Amara Washington scrubbed in for what should have been a straightforward Friday afternoon surgery. Straightforward by cardiac surgeon standards, anyway. Lucas Martinez, 9 years old, 72 pounds, had been born with a ventricular septal defect, a hole in the wall separating his heart's lower chambers. For 9 years, his parents watched him struggle, shortness of breath climbing stairs, exhaustion after playing. With friends, a childhood lived in careful moderation. Today, Dr. Washington would repair that hole, 4 to 5 hours of microsurgery. High risk, but she'd performed this exact procedure 43 times. Her success rate, 100%. Lucas's parents, Maria and Carlos Martinez, sat in the surgical waiting area on the 4th floor, anxious, hopeful, trusting their son's life to the best. Operating room 5 was prepped. Anesthesiologist, 2 surgical nurses, 1 resident assisting. Dr. Washington made her first incision at 1:47 p.m. The surgery was proceeding perfectly. Simultaneously, 3 floors below in the hospital's billing department, a very different situation was unfolding. Amanda Washington, 28 years old, billing clerk, no relation to Dr. Amara Washington whatsoever. Amanda Washington had been skimming insurance payments for 11 months, small amounts, $50 here, $200 there. It added up. The hospital's fraud investigation team had finally caught her. Cook County prosecutors issued an arrest warrant that morning. The warrant read, Amanda Washington, DOB 6/12/1995, Chicago Memorial Hospital Billing Department, fraud. Chicago PD dispatch received the warrant at 2:15 p.m., assigned it to the nearest available unit. Officer Brandon Hayes, Unit 347, 9 months out of the academy. Dispatch, Unit 347, proceed to Chicago Memorial Hospital, arrest warrant for A. Washington billing fraud. Subject is on site. Hayes arrived at 2:35 p.m., walked into the main lobby, asked hospital security, "Where's A. Washington?" Security guard, not knowing there were 2 employees with that surname, checked the directory. Saw Dr. A. Washington, Cardiothoracic Surgery, OR 5, currently in surgery. 5th floor, operating room 5. But she's in surgery right now, you'll need to. Officer Hayes didn't wait for the rest of that sentence. At 2:47 p.m., Officer Brandon Hayes pushed open the door to operating room 5. He had a warrant. He had a badge. What he didn't have was patience, training, or the slightest clue that he was about to destroy his own life. 2:47 p.m., operating room 5. The door swung open. Officer Brandon Hayes walked in wearing street shoes, full uniform, duty belt rattling. No surgical mask, no sterile gown, no scrubbing, no authorization. He walked directly into an active surgery. The surgical team froze. Dr. Washington's hands remained steady, Lucas's heart literally resting between her gloved fingers. She didn't turn around. "Excuse me," Hayes said, his voice loud, authoritative. "I need A. Washington now." Surgical nurse practitioner Jennifer Chen spoke first. "Officer, you can't be in here. This is a sterile environment. We're in the middle of—" "I'm not talking to you," Hayes interrupted. "A. Washington, I have a warrant for your arrest. You need to come with me." Dr. Washington's eyes stayed focused on Lucas's heart. She was suturing the ventricular wall, microscopic stitches, each one critical. "I'm Dr. Washington," she said calmly. "I'm in the middle of open-heart surgery. There's clearly been a mistake. I need you to leave this operating room immediately and speak with hospital administration. Hayes stepped closer. Ma'am, I don't care what you're doing. I have a warrant. You need to step away from the patient and come with me right now. Dr. Washington finished the stitch, paused, finally looked up. Officer, I cannot leave this patient. His chest is open. I am repairing his heart. If I stop now, he will die. I am not the person you're looking for. Check your warrant. My name is Dr. Amara Washington. I'm Chief of Cardiothoracic Surgery. There is a billing clerk named Amanda Washington in this hospital. Check your warrant. Hayes pulled the paper from his pocket, glanced at it. Says A. Washington, that's you. It says Amanda Washington, Dr. Washington corrected, her tone still measured. Date of birth June 12, 1995. I was born March 22, 1982. Check the birth date, officer. Hayes barely looked. You can explain all that downtown. Step away from the patient. I cannot do that. Ma'am, you're making this really difficult for yourself. Resident physician Dr. James Chen stepped forward. Officer, please. This is a 9-year-old child. She's the only surgeon qualified to. Step back or I'll charge you with obstruction, Hayes snapped. The room went silent, except for the monitor beeping Lucas's heartbeat. Dr. Washington took a breath. Officer Hayes, she read his nameplate. Under Illinois Hospital Emergency Care Act, Section 1245, you cannot interrupt emergency medical procedures. This is a life-threatening situation. I'm asserting my right and obligation to continue care. You are violating hospital protocol and state law by being in this room. Leave now, verify the warrant with your supervisor, and this will be resolved. Hayes's jaw tightened. Ma'am, I don't need a law lesson. Hands behind your back now. Dr. Washington didn't move. Her hands remained positioned over Lucas's and chest. Officer, if you arrest me right now, this child will die. Is that what you want on your body cam? Hayes reached for his handcuffs. Last chance, hands behind your back. What happened in the next 90 seconds would be described by federal prosecutors as one of the most egregious violations of constitutional rights and medical ethics obstruction in modern policing history. Officer Hayes didn't just cross a line, he obliterated it. 2:48 p.m. Officer Hayes stepped directly beside the operating table. Step away from the patient, final warning. Dr. Washington's voice remained calm but firm. I cannot comply. This patient will die. Hayes grabbed her left arm. Her sterile gloved hand, covered in Lucas Martinez's blood, was yanked away from the surgical field. The surgical team erupted. Stop, Nurse Chen screamed. You're contaminating the sterile field. Get your hands off her, Dr. James Chen shouted. The heart monitor alarm shrieked. Lucas's vitals spiked. Heart rate jumped from 98 BPM to 127 BPM in 4 seconds. Dr. Washington's voice cut through the chaos. Officer, you just contaminated my gloves. I need to rescrub. You need to leave, now. Hayes didn't let go. Instead, he pulled her other arm behind her back. 2:49 p.m. The handcuffs clicked shut. Dr. Amara Washington, Chief of Cardiothoracic Surgery, 18 years of experience, hands that had saved 847 lives, stood in handcuffs. Sterile gloves ruined. Blood smeared across her surgical gown. A 9-year-old boy lay on the table behind her, chest open, heart exposed. The monitor screamed louder, heart rate 142 BPM, oxygen saturation dropping, 96%, 94%, 91%. You're killing him, Nurse Chen screamed at Hayes. Do you understand? You are killing this child. Hayes ignored her. Ma'am, you're under arrest for fraud. You have the right to remain silent. I am not Amanda Washington. Dr. Washington's composure finally cracked. Her voice shook not with fear but with fury. Check the birth date. Check the department. I am a surgeon. That child is dying because of you. Hayes continued the Miranda warning, as if reading from a script. Dr. Chen grabbed the phone. I need backup surgeon to OR 5 immediately. Patient critical. Dr. Washington has been forcibly removed. 2:50 p.m. Officer Hayes began escorting Dr. Washington toward the door. She turned her head back toward the table. James, listen to me, clamp the aorta first. Suture the anterior wall in running stitch. Don't let him code. Do you hear me? Don't let him code. Hayes pushed her forward. Ma'am, stop talking. They exited operating room 5. Behind them, Lucas Martinez's heart began to fail. What Officer Hayes did in those 3 minutes violated 9 separate laws. First, Fourth Amendment, unlawful seizure. Hayes arrested Dr. Washington without verifying her identity. The warrant listed Amanda Washington, DOB 6/12/1995. Dr. Amara Washington was born 3/22/1982, a 13-year age difference, different department, different middle initial on hospital records. Hayes never asked for identification, never checked a driver's license, never confirmed with dispatch. Under Terry v. Ohio, 1968, and United States v. Cortez, 1981, officers must have reasonable suspicion backed by articulable facts. Hayes had a name match, nothing more. He ignored contradictory evidence presented directly to him. Second, deprivation of rights under color of law, 18 U.S. Code Section 242. Federal statute. A law enforcement officer who willfully subjects any person to the deprivation of any rights, protected by the Constitution, can face up to life imprisonment if bodily injury or death results. Hayes deprived Dr. Washington of her Fourth Amendment right against unlawful seizure. He deprived Lucas Martinez of his right to emergency medical care under the 14th Amendment, substantive due process, right to life-saving medical treatment. Third, Illinois Hospital Emergency Care Act, Section 1245, obstruction of emergency medical personnel. State law explicitly prohibits interference with emergency medical procedures. Violation is a Class A misdemeanor, upgradable to felony if patient harm results. Dr. Washington cited this statute verbatim. Hayes ignored it. Fourth, assault on medical personnel. By grabbing Dr. Washington's arms during active surgery, Hayes committed battery under Illinois law 720 ILCS 512-3. Unwanted physical contact. No consent. No legal justification. Fifth, reckless endangerment. 720 ILCS 512-5. Hayes's actions directly endangered Lucas Martinez's life. Reckless endangerment requires conduct that creates a substantial risk of serious physical injury. A child's open chest and failing heart qualifies. Sixth, contamination of sterile surgical environment. Illinois Department of Public Health Regulations, 77 Ill Adam Code 250.151, require sterile protocol in operating rooms. Hayes walked in with street shoes, no mask, no gown, then physically grabbed a sterile surgeon. This alone violates health codes and Hospital Joint Commission accreditation standards. Seventh, false imprisonment, 720 ILCS 510-3. Hayes detained Dr. Washington without legal justification. He had no probable cause she was Amanda Washington. He ignored exculpatory evidence. False imprisonment, felony if it involves restraint that creates risk of serious bodily injury. Eighth, failure to verify identity before arrest. Chicago PD General Order G0302 requires officers to confirm subject identity through at least 2 forms of verification before executing warrants in sensitive locations, hospitals, schools, government buildings. Hayes violated departmental policy. Ninth, ignoring exigent circumstances exception. Even if Dr. Washington had been the correct suspect, exigent circumstances doctrine allows delay of arrest when immediate execution would cause death or serious harm. Mincy v. Arizona, 1978. Police cannot override medical emergencies for nonviolent warrant execution. Hayes had a fraud warrant, nonviolent, no flight risk, no public safety threat. Dr. Washington wasn't going anywhere, she was mid-surgery. He could have waited 4 hours, he chose not to. The timeline of damage. 2:50 p.m. Dr. Washington removed from OR 5. 2:51 p.m. Backup surgeon Dr. Marcus Williams called. He was in another surgery across campus. 2:53 p.m. Dr. James Chen, resident, 3 years of experience, attempted to stabilize Lucas alone. 2:54 p.m. Lucas's oxygen saturation hit 87%, heart rate erratic, ventricular fibrillation risk imminent. 2:55 p.m. Dr. Williams arrived unscrubbed. Began emergency scrub protocol, minimum 4 minutes. 2:57 p.m. Lucas coded, flatline, CPR initiated. For 7 minutes, Lucas Martinez had no qualified surgeon. 7 minutes between Dr. Washington's removal and Dr. Williams taking over the procedure. In that time, a routine surgery became a near-fatal catastrophe. While Dr. Williams fought to restart a 9-year-old's heart, Officer Hayes was escorting Dr. Washington down the hallway in handcuffs, oblivious to the destruction he just caused. But the hospital's CEO was watching on security monitors, and she was about to make a phone call that would end Hayes' career before sundown. 2:57 p.m. Lucas Martinez's heart stopped. The flatline tone echoed through operating room 5. Dr. James Chen, 3 years out of residency, never having led a pediatric cardiac surgery, stood frozen for one terrible second. Then training took over. "Starting compressions," Chen shouted. His hands began rhythmic pumps on Lucas's tiny chest, 30 compressions, 2 breaths from the anesthesiologist. Nurse Chen called out vitals. No pulse, no respiration, continuing CPR. The defibrillator charged. In the hallway outside, Dr. Washington heard the flatline alarm through the closed door. She stopped walking. Hayes' hand gripped her arm, pulling her forward. "Officer, that alarm means he's coding. Let me go. Let me save him." Hayes kept walking. "You're under arrest. Keep moving." "He's dying," her voice cracked. 18 years of composure shattered. "Please, I'm begging you, let me go back in there." Hayes said nothing. Dr. Washington twisted against the handcuffs. "You don't understand. James can't handle this alone. The suture pattern is complex. If he doesn't clamp the pulmonary artery first, the child will bleed out, please." Hayes radioed dispatch. "Unit 347, I have the suspect in custody. Bringing her down now." From OR 5, Dr. Chen's voice screamed, "I need help. Where the hell is Dr. Williams?" 2:58 p.m. Hospital CEO Dr. Patricia Holloway was in her 5th-floor office when her phone lit up. "Head of surgery. Security alert. OR 5 emergency." She ran. By the time she reached the hallway, she saw it. Officer Hayes, hand clamped on Dr. Washington's arm, walking away from the operating room. Dr. Washington in handcuffs, blood-stained surgical gown, twisting back toward the door where alarms blared. "What the hell is happening here?" Holloway's voice was ice. Hayes turned. "Ma'am, police business, step aside." Holloway saw the handcuffs, saw Washington's face, saw the blood. "Officer, that is my chief of cardiothoracic surgery. There is a 9-year-old child coding in that room. Release her immediately." "I have a warrant for A. Washington's arrest." "That's Dr. Amara Washington. The warrant is for Amanda Washington, a billing clerk. Different person, different floor. Check your damn warrant." Hayes hesitated. For the first time, doubt flickered across his face. Holloway stepped closer. "How long has she been out of that OR?" 6-7 minutes. "That child has been without his primary surgeon for 7 minutes because you couldn't read a birth date." Holloway's voice could have cut steel. "You just violated federal law. You endangered a patient's life. You contaminated a sterile surgical environment. Take those handcuffs off right now, or I'm calling your supervisor and the FBI." Hayes' hand moved to his radio. "Dispatch, Unit 347, I need verification on arrest W. Errant for A. Washington at Chicago Memorial." From OR 5, clear, the defibrillator's thump. A long, terrible silence. Then the heart monitor's beep resumed, weak, irregular, but beating. "We have pulse," Chen's voice ragged with relief. Pulse is back, sinus rhythm unstable. Where is Dr. Williams? 2:59 p.m. Dr. Marcus Williams burst through the stairwell door, scrubbed hands held high, surgical mask on. I'm here, Chen report. VFib arrested, one shock delivered, pulse restored, rhythm unstable, septal repair 60% complete. Williams pushed into OR 5, the door swung shut. Dispatch crackled over Hayes's radio. Unit 347, be advised, warrant is for Amanda Bate Washington, DOB June 12, 1995, Billing Department. Repeat, Amanda Washington, Billing Department. Hayes's face went white. He looked at Dr. Holloway, at Dr. Washington, at the handcuffs. Holloway's eyes were molten fury. Take them off. Hayes fumbled with his keys, unlocked the cuffs. Dr. Washington's wrists were red, indented. She didn't rub them, didn't speak, just stared at Hayes with a look that could freeze blood. Then she turned and walked toward the OR door. Dr. Washington, Holloway said softly, Marcus has it, you're contaminated, you can't go back in. Dr. Washington stopped, her shoulders sagged. From inside OR 5, Dr. Williams's voice, suture holding, vitals stabilizing, he's going to make it. Dr. Washington closed her eyes. Officer Hayes stood motionless. His hand still held the handcuffs. Holloway pulled out her phone. I'm calling Chicago PD command staff. I'm calling our legal department. I'm calling the state medical board. And then I'm calling every news station in Chicago. You just arrested the wrong person during open heart surgery and nearly killed a child. Hayes opened his mouth. No words came out. Dr. Washington finally spoke. Her voice was quiet, calm, cold. Officer Hayes, I want your badge number. I want your supervisor's name. And I want the body cam footage from the last 15 minutes, because I'm going to make sure you never wear that uniform again. Lucas Martinez survived. Officer Brandon Hayes' career did not. And when the body cam footage hit the news 48 hours later, the nation would learn exactly who Officer Hayes had just handcuffed and how catastrophically he destroyed his own life. March 17, 2024, 6:00 p.m., 2 days after the arrest. Chicago Tribune headline, Rookie cop arrests chief surgeon during child's open-heart surgery, wrong person. The body cam footage went viral within 3 hours. 18 million views in 24 hours. National news by evening. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, ABC, every network ran the story. And America learned exactly who Dr. Amara Washington was. Not just a surgeon, not just chief of cardiothoracic surgery. The youngest department head in Chicago Memorial's 127-year history. Yale Medical School graduate, summa cum laude, top 3% of her class. 847 successful open-heart surgeries, 98.6% survival rate, 3 full points above the national average. 34 published peer-reviewed research papers on congenital heart defects, cited over 1,200 times by other researchers. American College of Surgeons Distinguished Service Award recipient, National Medical Association Physician of the Year, 2023. Two-time congressional witness on healthcare access reform, advisor to the Illinois Department of Public Health. The first black woman to lead a cardiothoracic surgery department in Illinois history. Managing an $18 million departmental budget, supervising 17 surgeons, 43 nurses, 12 residents. She had saved lives in 14 countries during medical missions. She had trained surgeons who now worked at Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic. She was the expert, the person other heart surgeons called when they didn't know what to do. And Officer Brandon Hayes, 9 months on the force, 63 arrests, 2 prior excessive force complaints, had handcuffed her in the middle of surgery because he couldn't read a birth date on a warrant. The contrast was almost comedic, almost. Officer Hayes' credentials, for comparison. 9 months as a Chicago police officer. Previously, 2 years as a security guard at a shopping mall, high school diploma, 8 weeks at the police academy, 0 medical training, 0 crisis intervention certification, 0 de-escalation courses completed. 63 total arrests, 41 traffic violations, 18 misdemeanors, 4 felonies, none involving hospital environments, none requiring identity verification beyond a driver's license check. 2 prior complaints for excessive force, both dismissed after brief internal review. His personnel file showed 1 commendation, perfect attendance, January 2024. That was it. The national response was immediate and volcanic. NAACP Legal Defense Fund. This is racial profiling, medical discrimination, and a grotesque abuse of power captured on camera. American Medical Association. The interruption of emergency medical care by law enforcement represents a dangerous precedent that puts patients' lives at risk. ACLU of Illinois. Dr. Washington's civil rights were violated in the most egregious manner possible. This demands federal investigation. Chicago Mayor's office released a statement within 12 hours. The incident is under full investigation. The officer has been placed on immediate administrative leave. But the public wasn't waiting for official statements. Social media exploded. Justice for Dr. Washington trended #1 on Twitter for 3 days. TikTok videos analyzing the bodycam footage hit 50 million combined views. The comments were universal. He arrested a chief surgeon during heart surgery and thought that was okay. 9 months versus 18 years, a mall cop versus a Yale surgeon, and he thought he had authority. That child almost died because this cop couldn't read a birth date. Chicago PD suspended Officer Hayes pending investigation. No badge, no gun, no patrol duties. But suspension wasn't enough. On March 19th, 4 days after the arrest, the FBI Civil Rights Division opened a federal investigation. The bodycam didn't lie. The timestamps didn't lie. The medical records didn't lie. And when federal investigators began pulling evidence, they built a case so airtight that even Hayes' own union attorney advised him to plead guilty. March 19, 2024, the FBI Civil Rights Division opened their investigation. Lead agent, Special Agent Carmen Torres, 16 years investigating police misconduct cases. Her team descended on Chicago Memorial Hospital with subpoenas, forensic analysts, and a mandate from the U.S. Attorney's Office. The evidence they collected was devastating. The bodycam footage. 22 minutes of uninterrupted recording. Every word, every action, every violation captured in 1080p high definition. Frame-by-frame analysis confirmed. Officer Hayes entered OR5 at 2:47:18 p.m. No hesitation, no announcement to hospital security, direct violation of Chicago PD policy requiring coordination with hospital administration before entering sterile medical areas. At 2:48:03 p.m., Hayes grabbed Dr. Washington's left arm while her hands were actively inside Lucas Martinez's chest cavity. Contamination visible on camera, sterile glove compromised, blood transfer to Hayes' uniform. At 2:49:12 p.m., handcuffs applied. Dr. Washington's hands still gloved, still bloody. Miranda rights read while heart monitor alarms blared in the background. At 2:40 p.m., Dr. Washington exited OR5 in custody. Behind her, visible through the closing door, surgical team in crisis mode, Dr. Chen beginning emergency stabilization. The audio was even more damning. Dr. Washington, calm and professional. Officer, check your warrant. My name is Dr. Amara Washington. I was born March 22, 1982. The warrant lists Amanda Washington, born June 12, 1995. Check the birth date. Hayes, you can explain all that downtown. She cited Illinois law verbatim. Hayes interrupted her. She warned him a child would die. Hayes responded, "Ma'am, I don't care what you're doing." Those 6 words, "I don't care what you're doing," would be played in court 17 times. Hospital security footage. Chicago Memorial's internal cameras captured Hayes' arrival. Timestamp 2:35:47 p.m. Lobby footage showed Hayes speaking with security officer Tim Brennan. Brennan checked the hospital directory, found Dr. A. Washington, OR 5, pointed Hayes toward the elevators. Critical detail. Brennan's statement to investigators. I told Officer Hayes, she's in surgery right now, you'll need to coordinate with hospital admin before going up. He said, I've got a warrant, and walked away. Elevator footage. Hayes ascending alone to the 5th floor. No coordination, no check-in with nursing staff. 5th floor hallway footage. Hayes walked directly to OR 5, pushed the door open, entered. Timeline confirmed. 12 minutes from arrival to arrest. 0 identity verification. The warrant itself. Cook County Circuit Court Warrant 2024, CR 4471. Issued March 15, 2024, 9:15 a.m. Arrest warrant. Amanda Bate Washington, DOB 6/12/1995, Chicago Memorial Hospital Billing Department. Charge: insurance fraud. The warrant included a photograph. Amanda Washington's employee ID photo from hospital records. Amanda Washington, 28 years old, blonde hair, 54, white female. Dr. Amara Washington, 42 years old, black hair, 59, black female. Officer Hayes never looked at the photograph. Witness statements. FBI interviewed 14 witnesses. Every statement corroborated Dr. Washington's account. Surgical nurse Jennifer Chen. Dr. Washington told him repeatedly he had the wrong person check the birth date, a child would die. He didn't care. He just kept demanding she comply. Resident Dr. James Chen. I tried to explain the medical emergency. He threatened to arrest me for obstruction. He had zero regard for the patient's life. Anesthesiology. St. Dr. Raj Patel. I've been in medicine 23 years. I have never seen anything so reckless, so dangerous, so utterly incomprehensible. Hospital CEO Dr. Patricia Holloway. When I confronted Officer Hayes in the hallway, he still insisted he had the right person, even after I explained the mistake. It took dispatch confirmation for him to even consider he was wrong. Security Officer Tim Brennan. I specifically told him to coordinate with admin. He ignored me completely. Most damning, Lucas Martinez's medical records. Surgical notes documented the timeline. 2:47 p.m. Unauthorized person entered or interrupted procedure. 2:50 p.m. Dr. Washington forcibly removed by police. Patient destabilized. 2:57 p.m. Patient cardiac arrest, VFib, CPR initiated. 2:58 p.m. Defibrillation successful, pulse restored. 3:02 p.m. Dr. Williams assumed surgical control, repair resumed. Total surgical delay caused by Officer Hayes, 15 minutes. Pediatric cardiac surgeon expert testimony, Dr. Leonard Fisk, Stanford University. A 15-minute delay during ventricular septal repair in a 9-year-old patient creates a 34% increased risk of complications including stroke, permanent heart damage, or death. Officer Hayes' actions directly endangered this child's life. Chicago PD Internal Affairs Investigation. Completed March 28, 2024. Findings. Officer Brandon Hayes committed gross negligence, violated Departmental Policy G0302, identity verification in sensitive locations, violated Departmental Policy G0611, coordination with medical facilities, demonstrated reckless disregard for human life, and failed to exercise sound judgment. Recommendation: immediate termination, referral to Cook County State's Attorney for criminal prosecution. Cook County State's Attorney filing. April 2, 2024, criminal charges filed. Count 1, reckless endangerment, Class 4 felony. Count 2, official misconduct, Class 3 felony. Count 3, battery, Class A misdemeanor. Count 4, false imprisonment, Class 4 felony. But state charges were just the beginning. Federal investigation findings. The FBI's report, filed April 15, 2024, was 247 pages. Conclusion: Officer Hayes' actions constitute deprivation of rights under color of law, 18 U.S. Code Section 242. His conduct deprived Dr. Washington of Fourth Amendment protections and deprived Lucas Martinez of 14th Amendment substantive due process rights to emergency medical care. Federal prosecution recommended. U.S. Attorney's Office, Northern District of Illinois, accepted the case. Federal charges filed May 1, 2024. Deprivation of rights under color of law, 18 U.S.C. Section 242. Maximum 10 years federal prison. The evidence was overwhelming. The timeline was irrefutable. The body cam footage was undeniable. Officer Hayes' attorney reviewed the case for 6 days. On May 7, 2024, he advised Hayes to accept a plea deal. The evidence didn't just end Officer Hayes' career. It triggered an avalanche of consequences, criminal, financial, departmental, and systemic, that would reshape Chicago policing and deliver justice on a scale rarely seen in police accountability cases. The justice system moved with unusual speed. When the evidence is this clear, when the body cam footage is this damning, when a child nearly died, there's no room for delay. Officer Brandon Hayes' world collapsed in stages. Federal criminal case. May 7, 2024. Hayes accepted a plea agreement with the U.S. Attorney's Office. Charge: deprivation of rights under color of law, 18 U.S.C. Section 242. Plea guilty. Sentence: 5 years in federal prison. No parole in federal system. He would serve every day. Judge Patricia Morrison's statement at sentencing: Officer Hayes, you had multiple opportunities to stop. Dr. Washington told you her birth date. She cited the law. She begged you to verify the warrant. You ignored her because you believed your authority superseded her expertise, her rights, and a child's life. Your arrogance nearly killed a 9-year-old boy. 5 years is the minimum this court can impose. It is not enough. State criminal case. June 12, 2024, Cook County Circuit Court proceedings. Charges: reckless endangerment Class 4 felony, official misconduct Class 3 felony, battery Class A misdemeanor, false imprisonment Class 4 felony. Plea guilty on all counts, part of global plea agreement. Sentence: 3-year state prison, concurrent with federal sentence. Total combined incarceration: 5 years federal prison, state sentence runs simultaneously. Hayes began serving his sentence July 15, 2024, at FCI Greenville, Federal Correctional Institution in Illinois. Release date: July 15, 2029. Certification revocation. Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board revoked Hayes' police certification on June 20, 2024. Permanent revocation. He can never work as a police officer in Illinois again. Furthermore, the revocation was entered into the National Decertification Index, a nationwide database accessible to all U.S. law enforcement agencies. Hayes cannot be hired as a police officer anywhere in America. Pension forfeiture. Under Illinois law, 50 ILCS 531443, police officers convicted of felonies related to their official duties forfeit all pension benefits. Hayes had contributed to the Chicago Police Pension Fund for 9 months. Total value of forfeited future pension benefits: $780,000, actuarial estimate based on 25-year career projection. Gone: zero pension, zero retirement benefits. Civil lawsuit: Martinez family. Lucas Martinez's parents filed a personal injury lawsuit against Officer Hayes in August 2024. Claim: $12 million for emotional distress, endangered child's life, medical complications from delayed surgery, pain and suffering. Status: pending. Hayes has no assets to satisfy judgment, but the lawsuit establishes a permanent lien against any future earnings. Other officers involved: Supervising Sergeant Mark Delgado, Internal Affairs found Delgado failed to properly supervise Hayes and failed to ensure proper warrant execution protocols. Discipline, 90-day suspension without pay, demotion from sergeant to officer, loss of $18,000 in salary, mandatory retraining in constitutional policing and medical facility protocols. Dispatch operator Angela Reeves, found to have provided incomplete information to Hayes, mentioned A. Washington at hospital, but didn't specify billing department versus surgical staff. Discipline, written reprimand, mandatory retraining, no suspension. Security Officer Tim Brennan, hospital employee, not CPD. No discipline. His statement to investigators confirmed he warned Hayes to coordinate with administration. Hayes ignored the warning. Departmental consequences, Chicago Police Department. Financial cost. Dr. Amara Washington filed a federal civil rights lawsuit, 42 U.S.C. Section 1983, against Officer Hayes and the City of Chicago on April 10, 2024. Claim unlawful arrest, deprivation of Fourth Amendment rights, emotional distress, reputational harm, violation of medical practice rights. Settlement negotiations began in August. November 14, 2024, $24 million settlement agreement. The largest individual civil rights settlement in Chicago Police Department history for a single incident. Dr. Washington's attorney released a statement. No amount of money compensates for the trauma Dr. Washington endured or the danger posed to her patient. But this settlement sends a clear message. Police officers who violate constitutional rights will face severe financial consequences. Additional financial costs to Chicago PD. Legal defense fees, $3.2 million. FBI investigation cooperation costs, $1.1 million. Internal Affairs investigation, $890,000. Policy revision and implementation, $2.4 million. Mandatory department-wide retraining, $6.8 million. Federal consent decree compliance monitoring, $4.5 million. Total financial cost to City of Chicago, $42.89 million. Policy changes, Chicago PD General Orders revised. The Chicago Police Department implemented 7 major policy reforms in response to the incident. General Order G0302, revised identity verification. Officers executing arrest warrants in hospitals, schools, or government buildings must verify subject identity with photo ID and dispatch confirmation. Check minimum 2 forms of identification. Confirm birth date, middle name, and department location. Obtain supervisor approval before arrest in medical facilities. General Order G0318 new Medical Facility Protocol. Officers entering hospitals must coordinate with Hospital Security Administration before contacting any subject. Never enter operating rooms, ICUs, or emergency treatment areas without hospital authorization. Defer arrests if subject is providing emergency medical care. Complete mandatory 8-hour training on medical environment laws. Mandatory medical emergency training. All Chicago police officers must complete annual training on Illinois Hospital Emergency Care Act. Exigent circumstances exception. Medical personnel rights. Patient safety protocols. Body cam review protocol. All arrests in medical facilities trigger automatic body cam review by supervisory staff within 24 hours. Disciplinary matrix update. Endangering patients or interfering with emergency medical care. Automatic termination plus criminal referral. Warrant execution checklist. Officers must complete written checklist before executing warrants in sensitive locations. Supervisors must countersign. Hospital Liaison Program. Chicago PD assigned dedicated liaisons to major hospitals for coordination on warrant execution, mental health calls, and patient safety. Systemic consequences, state and national. Illinois state legislation. August 22, 2024, Illinois governor signed the Medical Personnel Protection Act into law. Key provisions. Class 2, felony for any law enforcement officer who interrupts emergency medical procedures without legal justification. Mandatory 48-hour suspension without pay for any officer entering operating rooms without hospital authorization. Hospitals granted authority to deny law enforcement entry to active treatment areas, except in cases of immediate threat to life. Victims of violations can sue for minimum $100,000 statutory damages. The law is nicknamed Dr. Washington's Law. Chicago Memorial Hospital federal grant. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services awarded Chicago Memorial $4.2 million to develop national training protocols for law enforcement interactions in medical settings. Hospital now trains police departments nationwide on medical facility laws. American Medical Association National Guidelines. AMA released Law Enforcement Interaction Guidelines for Medical Facilities in October 2024, distributed to 15,000 hospitals nationwide. The guidelines cite the Dr. Washington case as a cautionary example in 12 separate sections. NAACP Legal Defense Fund Advocacy used Dr. Washington's case in congressional testimony supporting the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. The case was referenced in 14 amicus briefs filed in police misconduct cases nationwide between June-December 2024. Departmental reforms nationwide. 847 police departments across the United States revised their hospital warrant execution policies in the 6 months following the incident. Dr. Washington's case became a training scenario in 1,200-plus police academies. Dr. Washington's advocacy and impact. Dr. Washington didn't just win her case, she became a voice for systemic change. Founded the Physicians' Rights Project, nonprofit organization, launched September 2024, providing legal defense for medical professionals facing unlawful law enforcement interference. The organization has already taken on 14 cases nationwide. Congressional testimony. September 18, 2024, Dr. Washington testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee on Police Accountability and Constitutional Rights. Her testimony was viewed 8.3 million times online. Key quote, "I took an oath to do no harm. Officer Hayes prevented me from honoring that oath. We need federal standards to ensure no doctor, no nurse, no medical professional is ever handcuffed while trying to save a life." Published memoir. January 2025, Dr. Washington published The Heart of Justice, A Surgeon's Fight Against Police Abuse. The book debuted at 3 on the New York Times bestseller list. 100% of proceeds donated to the Physicians' Rights Project. Awards and recognition. Time Magazine, 100 Most Influential People of 2024. NAACP Image Award, Advocate of the Year. Illinois Medical Society, Courage in Medicine Award. Lucas Martinez, the patient. Lucas Martinez made a full recovery. No complications, no permanent heart damage. Dr. Marcus Williams completed the surgery successfully. Lucas was discharged from Chicago Memorial on March 22, 2024, 1 week after the incident. His parents, Maria and Carlos Martinez, released a statement in November 2024. Dr. Washington saved our son's life twice, once on the operating table when she performed surgery, and again when she fought for justice, because her fight will protect other patients from what Lucas endured. We will be forever grateful. Lucas, now 10 years old, plays soccer, rides his bike, lives a normal childhood. The surgical repair Dr. Washington began and Dr. Williams completed was successful. Total cost to Officer Hayes: 5 years in federal prison, 3 years state prison concurrent, $780,000 pension forfeited. Nationwide law enforcement decertification, permanent. $12 million civil judgment, pending, unenforceable but permanent lien. Unemployable in law enforcement forever. Total cost to City of Chicago. $24 million settlement to Dr. Washington. $18.89 million in legal, investigation, policy and training costs. Grand total, $42.89 million. Total systemic impact. 1 state law passed. 847 police departments reformed policies. 1,200 plus police academies updated training. 15,000 hospitals received new guidelines. 14 cases taken by Physicians' Rights Project. Millions educated on Fourth Amendment rights. Officer Hayes spent 9 months building a career. He destroyed it in 7 minutes. Dr. Washington spent 18 years building her reputation. 1 illegal arrest couldn't touch it. He's in federal prison until 2029. She's testifying before Congress, writing best-selling books and changing laws. He lost his freedom, his badge, his future. She gained a national platform, $24 million, and a legacy of justice. This is what accountability looks like when the evidence is irrefutable, the victim is unshakable, and the system, for once, works. But Dr. Washington's story isn't just about one officer's downfall. It's about what all of us can learn when power meets the Constitution, and the Constitution wins. Officer Brandon Hayes had 9 months of experience. Dr. Amara Washington had 18 years of expertise. He had a badge, she had a scalpel and the Constitution. He thought authority meant he didn't have to listen. She knew the law meant he had no choice. See? In 7 minutes, Hayes made decisions that cost him 5 years of freedom, $780,000 in pension, and any future in law enforcement. Dr. Washington made decisions that saved a child's life, won $24 million, changed state law, and inspired 847 police departments to reform their policies. The body cam recorded everything, and the evidence didn't lie. Here's what you need to know, what Dr. Washington's case teaches all of us. First, know your Fourth Amendment rights. Police cannot arrest you without probable cause. They must verify your identity, especially when you provide contradictory evidence. If an officer has the wrong person, you have the right to say so, calmly, clearly, repeatedly. Second, exigent circumstances matter. Even if police have a valid warrant, they cannot execute it when doing so creates immediate danger of death or serious harm. Medical emergencies, fires, active childcare, these create legal exceptions. Officers are trained on this. Many ignore it. You don't have to. Third, document everything. Dr. Washington's case was won because the body cam captured every second. If you're in a police encounter, your phone's recording can be your evidence. Know your state's recording laws. Exercise your rights. Fourth, systemic change is possible. One surgeon's refusal to back down created a state law, reformed 847 police departments, and established legal protections for medical professionals nationwide. Your fight matters. Your voice matters. Justice can win. Dr. Washington didn't just survive an unlawful arrest. She fought back. She testified. She wrote. She founded an organization. She changed the system. You can too. So here's the question for you. What should happen to police officers who ignore medical emergencies to make arrests? Should federal law mandate stronger protections for healthcare workers? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation doesn't end here. If this story reminded you why constitutional rights matter, hit that like button. If you want more bodycam accountability stories where justice actually gets served, subscribe and turn on notifications. This is Bodycam Truth Files, where the footage doesn't lie, the evidence doesn't hide, and justice doesn't wait. See you in the next one.